This is a song for all you lovebirds out there. Earth angel, will you be mine? My darling dear, love you all the time. I'm just a fool in love with you. Welcome to GameCola podcast number 18, starring Franzen and Michael Gray. In this podcast, they discuss Deja Vu and Phoenix Wright. They were supposed to keep the conversation limited to 10 minutes, but they wouldn't stop talking, so it ended up being a full podcast. Hope you enjoyed, everybody. GameCola podcast number 18, talking about Deja Vu and Phoenix Wright case number 3. That's all we have today.
Hello and welcome to GameCola podcast number 18. I'm Paul Franzen, the editor-in-chief of GameCola.
I'm Michael Gray. I write The 10 Reasons, Carbonated News, and The Gates of Life. No, wait. Do I write The Gates of Life?
That's incorrect.
Oh, who writes that?
I think I write that, actually.
Oh.
Or at least I did write it back when we had a website.
Yeah.
So welcome to the podcast. We have 2 segments planned for you today. First, we're going to do a very, very in-depth discussion of the game Deja Vu, which Michael and I have both recorded playthroughs for on the GameCola YouTube page. We're going to talk about what we like about them, which version is the best, etc.
Not to mention we're going to be talking about the plot of the game to great detail, but try not to give any major spoilers. Very interesting plot. Well,
I was about to say it's a great game, but I'll just say it's a game.
It's the NES version of Phoenix Wright, which is the next game we're going to be talking about.
Before in the podcast, we've had in-depth discussions of cases 1-1 and 1-2, the first 2 cases of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. Mm-hmm. Today we're going to be talking about the third one.
Case number 3 of the first game, and let's see if we can actually keep our discussion to 10 to 20 minutes.
I think we can do it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean, there's not that much to talk about with this case, right? It's pretty straightforward.
Pretty open and shut, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's get started.
Alright, Deja Vu. Yeah, the game we're going to talk about is Deja Vu for the NES, and what else is it for? The Game Boy Color?
Yeah, the Game Boy Color and the PC. It originated as a Mac OS game, as part of the ICOM, I believe that's the name of it, ICOM trilogy of 4 games. It's Deja Vu, Shadowgate, Uninvited, and Deja Vu.to.
And the reason it's only me and Michael here talking about it is because no one else on the staff has ever played Deja Vu.
Didn't somebody write a review for Deja Vu?
Ah, yes, that was Neal, though. He's not on the staff anymore.
Ah, Neal.
Yeah, Neal Iannone, who I've actually been trying to recruit back to the staff for the big relaunch, but no luck so far.
Yeah, too bad. He's awesomer than you are.
I actually disagree with that.
Oh. Well, he drew awesomer. He's the guy who drew Lofi Carl, right?
He did Lofi Carl, he did reviews, and he did Neal is awesomer than you, his column.
That's nice. And
he actually did say that he would be willing to join the podcast sometime, but I'm looking on my instant messenger and he's not online right now, unfortunately.
Okay. So, in this segment, we're reviewing Neal Iannone.
Yeah, Neal is one of the original 7 members of the GameCola staff from the Shawnee High School days, where we would have meetings after school in the cafeteria to discuss important GameCola matters, like what games we were going to nominate for Game of the Year, and whether we were all going to get cool matching jerseys and stuff like that.
Wait, whoa, what happened to this plan to get cool matching jerseys?
It fell through, actually. I did try to get the cool matching jerseys, but it turned out it would cost way too much, so we didn't bother.
Wow. So, getting back to what we're supposed to be talking about, Deja Vu.
I thought we were talking about Neal.
Neal wrote a review for Deja Vu back in the day, which was recently featured in Classic Cola.
That's right, yeah. Back when, way back when we were still publishing a website.
Yeah. Anyway, Deja Vu is a point-and-click adventure game. I noticed, Paul, during your video walkthrough, you were talking about how the game it's sort of a mature game, and that was before they had the ERSB rating.
Yeah, I think so. I mentioned in my video that I'm surprised that the game even was able to come out for the NES back. What was it, like the early '90s, late '80s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the system was very, very much a kid's system. Video games in general, very much a kid's thing. So I was very surprised that a game that dealt with murder and prostitution was even allowed on the system. Now it would be a lot easier to publish a game like that because you just slap a mature rating on it and you're good to go. But back then we didn't have anything to protect the kiddies from prostitution.
It's interesting that you mentioned the word prostitution because that was one of the things that they semi-cut out of the game in order to get it released on the NES.
It was still pretty obvious that what's her face was a prostitute, though.
Sugar
I
Shack.
guess maybe a little kid would have been able to figure it out, but
Ace Harding, so he's a detective.
Yes.
Yes.
And he lost his memory, so you don't actually know he's Ace Harding right away. Way to spoil it, Michael.
No, I noticed that you actually played the game correctly and didn't know what was going to happen ahead of time, so you really did get the sense of deja vu.
Which was tricky because I was playing the game while reading your walkthrough of the game, so I had to make sure not to skip ahead too far.
Yeah, I've noticed some people like to complain about that sometimes with walkthroughs. It's like, oh my goodness, your walkthrough that says how to do everything in the game told me what was going to happen in the game. You totally spoiled it. Way to go.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using walkthrough, and you're really worried about spoilers, you need to be ultra careful in reading the walkthrough. You have to make sure to skip right to the part that you need and read nothing but that part. It's all on you, though. It's not the FAQ writer's responsibility. I mean, as long as they don't, mention something that happens hours later in the game that's super interesting.
Yeah. Plus I understand Game FAQs has started a spoiler-free walkthrough movement.
Oh.
Yeah, like if you go to, say for the Phoenix Wright games, they have 1 or 2 spoiler-free walkthroughs, which will basically tell you, press the third statement.
Oh,
Object
handy.
with the second piece of evidence on statement number 4. So it doesn't tell you exactly what the evidence is or what the statement is. It's really short, which I think that's the main reason why people are writing them.
There's also this website that I like to use when I'm playing an adventure game, and I need help with it. I'm completely blanking on the name of it, unfortunately, but you go to the website and you can just you click on the where in the game, like you click on a link that says where in the game you are. You click on your part of the game, and then just goes through all the. Oh, never mind. I forget what I was talking about.
I know that website, and that's the one where they just blatantly copy-paste stuff from my guide without giving me credit. No. I'm sure they're not stealing anything from me.
So, Deja Vu.
Another thing I think that's cool about Deja Vu, I think you mentioned it, is the death sequences. It's one of those games where you want to try to find all the death sequences because they're funny / cool.
I strongly enjoy how it doesn't really penalize you for getting killed in this game. It lets you explore the game and find different ways to get killed and see all the cool different scenes without making you start the game over or reload your last save or whatever.
Yeah.
In fact, it's the same exact thing that Elizabeth Medina Gray's Test Game does. Same exact idea. Really?
Because I was under the impression that there was only one death in Test Game, which is...
There's at least, actually, Lizzo and I were counting them off the other day. There's at least 6.
Name them.
You want me to name them? Okay.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
There's, okay, wait, what's the monster's name at the river? Omar, okay. there's two deaths at Omar. One is if you walk into the water without the sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Paul stares in his reflection. Is that the one you got?
Yeah, that's the one I got, which, by the way, makes no sense.
Makes perfect sense.
There's sunglasses randomly on a bush, and then Paul puts them on, and that helps him cross the river.
Well, if you play... Actually, this part hasn't been programmed yet, but we will explain why the sunglasses are there.
Okay, good.
It will be explained, don't worry.
Because I've noticed that Paul with sunglasses is on the picture for the Test Game t-shirt. We don't have cool GameCola jackets, but we did have Test Game t-shirts.
I actually own that t-shirt.
So I thought there was some sort of deeper reason why Paul has sunglasses.
Well, maybe there is.
Maybe there is.
That's
okay.
death number one. Death number two is, you get your head chopped off by Omar.
Really?
Yeah, I forget how. I guess you walk past him without talking to him, or you just try to walk by him without, getting the little vine first.
I think when I did that, I thought all he did was wave his scythe in the air, and then Paul decides not to bother him. And Paul's like... No,
there's an animation and everything.
Oh, I only saw the animation of him just saying, Paul, don't go there, buddy.
Oh, see, you're obviously not a very big fan of the game.
Oh. And is there a death where Artie the Kilt Man kills you for not giving back his stone?
Yes. Yep, that's number 3.
How do you get these deaths?
Well, the third one... Wait, what do you mean? How do you get them playing, or how do we think of them?
How do you get it to happen? Because whenever I'm at the scene where Artie is confronting Paul, say I try to give the vine to him instead of the rock, Paul just says, no, I should really give him back his stone.
I think there's a timer.
Oh, okay, that would explain it then.
I think there's a timer.
There's a timer.
So, that's death number 3. Death number 4 is with the spasm.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Drink.
I forgot, you can kill Paul by drinking too much spasm.
That's 4. Number 5, the blue stone. You can try to swallow it.
Who thought up that idea? And I thought the stone was purple.
You use the stone on Paul, and he says something like, I wonder what would happen if I tried to swallow this rock. And then he does, and chokes to death.
Wow. Paul's not very intelligent, I guess.
And, oh man, uh-oh. Is there only 5? Uh-oh.
I don't know, maybe there's a death with the ventriloquist.
No, give me 2 seconds, I'm going to go ask Lizzo.
Okay.
Okay, death number 6.
Mm-hmm.
In Artie's cave, if you try to take his stones, he kills you.
Oh, okay, that's right. I thought he just appears and floats.
No, he murders you.
Oh, okay. That animation was put in.
But actually, I don't know. No, I don't think there's actually an animation. But that's what happens. He kills you.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it just says, the text says, Artie kills Paul or something.
Nice, very descriptive and stuff like that.
Notice that there aren't any deaths in the second act of the game, as it were, like from the castle and beyond.
Yeah, I had noticed that the castle.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out more because the castle section is still being developed.
Well, actually, I don't know when this segment's going to be posted, but we have a pretty huge update just waiting for the new GameCola website to be ready, so we can post it onto the new GameCola website. We're actually we have wrapped up the second act that takes place in the castle, or in the castle in the courtyard.
Nice.
And you get to see them the third part, and there's a shocking plot twist.
Well, everybody, we hope you enjoyed our discussion of Deja Vu.
Alright, wait, real quick, which is better, NES version or PC version? Now that I'm sure all of our fans as well, but both of us have definitely seen both games in action now.
I haven't played the PC version, though.
What?
Sorry to cut you off, but I haven't played the PC version.
I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. I keep mixing those up.
Yeah, I played the Game Boy Color version. But in response to your question of whether that was better than the NES version, well, I think I'll go for Game Boy Color. Actually, you know what? The control scheme was a lot better in the NES version to figure out what button was what.
The controls were awful in the NES version.
No, I just mean it had the word examine and move and stuff like that, rather than the pick up and the put away icons looked identical. so you couldn't tell which one was which. That
made even worse because you're playing it on a tiny Game Boy Color screen.
Yeah.
I bet the PC version's the best.
It probably is.
Because you probably can use the mouse instead of the slow cursor with trying to move it with the D-pad.
Mm-hmm. Well, there are multiple, I say multiple, probably more than one PC versions of the game. There's the original Mac OS, which is black and white, and then there's a color version. And I understand for the sequel, there's an annoying version where they have the talk option and you actually have to type out all of the addresses to the cabbie person.
Wow.
Which nobody liked. Yeah, so that's our discussion on Deja Vu. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Neal, if you're listening, buddy, please join the podcast. Paul, make an exhortation towards Neal if he's listening.
I will. He wants me to come over and play New Super Mario Bros. Wii with him at some point, so I'll harass him about it. Actually, what he really wants, he wants me to bring my Wii over so that he can play New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but I'm assuming he wants to play with me too.
That could be a possibility.
I like to think so.
And now it's time to move on to discussion of case number 3 of Phoenix Wright. Right now we're talking about case number 3 of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney.
For the DS.
And hopefully we'll be very good and not upset Zach Rich by talking about all sorts of crazy shipping.
Pretty much Phoenix Maya, that's the main ship for this game, for the series.
No, I don't think in this case, I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling the Phoenix...
How could you possibly not be feeling Phoenix Maya? They are the couple of this game.
But this particular case, it sort of starts off with Phoenix. Phoenix isn't really like in Maya, because this is the case about the Steel Samurai. And it starts off with Phoenix, it's like, Maya, what's wrong with you? Why are you watching this kid's show?
Yeah, but through the case, Phoenix learns that it's okay to like kids' shows, even if you're an adult.
When does he learn this, Paul? I don't think he does.
It's there. Obviously, you skipped over that part, but it happened.
I seem to remember in the video where he meets the crazed fanboy, one of the characters is the kid who's a crazed fanboy, and he doesn't exactly get along with Phoenix.
Well, that's because Phoenix doesn't like this show particularly, but that doesn't mean he's against kids' shows in general.
I suppose.
I'm completely making that up. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little confused about that part, and this is totally jumping ahead because nobody knows the plot.
We're not on this part in our bullet point list yet, Michael.
Yeah, let's start. Okay, fine.
What is the plot of this case?
The plot is Maya is a big fan of the kid show, The Steel Samurai. The actor, Will Powers, he's the actor who plays the Steel Samurai. What happened is the person who plays the villain on the Steel Samurai was killed on the set with one of the props, so the police think it has to be the actor who plays the Steel Samurai. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, I think it's an open and shut case.
Oh, but it's not so open and shut as Phoenix and Maya revealed, because Maya, of course, believes the Steel Samurai is the paragon of justice and would never kill the evil bad guy. Because
wait, if he's a paragon of justice, wouldn't he kill the evil bad guy?
You obviously know very little about anime, Paul, because the bad guy always has to come back. Actually, is this anime? Because it's a show with actors.
So I guess it's not anime.
Yeah.
It's Japanese television, though.
Yeah, let's pretend it's like the Power Rangers, where the bad guy always lives another day. Phoenix Wright, case number 3.
Okay, so what's his face? The Steel Samurai is
Will Powers.
Will Powers appears to have been framed, and Maya and Phoenix come to his rescue and try to prevent him from being arrested, or I guess he was already arrested, but being sent to jail for this.
Yeah, and sentenced to death for a murder he didn't commit.
Yes.
Because what happened is somebody fed him sleeping pills, and he was sleeping the whole time. So what's your next bullet point on the list?
My next bullet point. Actually, this is one I forgot to go over with you already before we started recording.
Uh-oh.
It's a surprise. No, I have a bullet point here about how cool it is, how cool it must have been for Maya to get to defend the Steel Samurai in this case, because, I mean, she worships him. It'd be like if I got to defend the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in a court of law, basically.
That would be awesome, although I get the feeling Maya isn't exactly all that into it once she sees what the person looks like.
That's right.
When she sees what Willpower looks like without his Steel Samurai costume
That's right.
on.
They make it a point of talking about how horribly ugly he is in the whole game throughout the case.
Which makes no sense because he doesn't look horribly ugly at all.
He looks just like Wolverine.
That's cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's ugly, right? I mean, he's kind of a hottie.
You know, maybe if he just trimmed his sideburns or something or got a haircut,
Yeah.
maybe he'd look less
That's right.
scary.
Wasn't there a point where when Maya sees what he really looks like, she's like, "Oh, he's guilty. That's it."
Yeah, she sees him and says, he's guilty. It's like, he's guilty of murder. Maybe even more than once. Yeah, so I guess Maya isn't as exciting.
I guess it wasn't as cool. It wouldn't be as cool as me defending the Ninja Turtles.
Except she's not really defending him. It's really Phoenix who does all the work.
Are you insulting my bullet point here?
Yeah, I think I am.
Alright, let's move on to the next one then. The next bullet point that I have relates to the names of the Phoenix Wright series. The third game is where I really started to notice this, obviously, starting with even the first, I guess it was the first case. They started showing characters whose names were these awful/awesome puns. The first one that comes to mind is Mr. Red White, who worked for the Blue Company.
Blue Corp, yeah. And I'm of two minds of this. On the one hand, I think puns are awesome, so I enjoyed them. On the other hand, it kind of takes me out of the game a little. Because, I mean, obviously, the game isn't hyper-realistic, but I feel like naming everyone a pun kind of puts it over the edge. I mean, in this case, you have characters like Jack Hammer, Sal Manella, etc. Yeah.
I think that crosses an unrealistic line there. And I kind of wonder if that's just the people who were localizing the game just thought it would be funny, or if the names were all puns in the original Japanese as well. I don't know.
We can actually double check that if we want, if we're that nerdy.
Are we?
I don't know.
Anyway, how do you feel about the names? Do they bother you at all?
I think it only bothers me if it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Like, Jack Hammer, the character has absolutely nothing to do with the Jack Hammer. It's a pointless
He's an
pun.
action star, though. That sounds like at least like a nice action star name.
Maybe, but, I mean, Penny Nichols, there's no mention of coins or money or anything in relation to her.
And I don't think Red White was much... I mean, was he an obvious patriot?
No, he was a horrible, horrible person.
Yeah.
He killed Mia, who is Phoenix's true love.
Wait, no. You're really confused there. He killed Mia, but Maya is the true love. She's
too young for him.
They're like only a few years apart. Come on,
7.
By the time the third game rolls around, she's old enough.
Yeah, by the third game, it's more possible in the third game, I would say. And I think in the third game where Phoenix actively risks his life to try to save her, it's very touching.
I agree.
And that's the basis of some of my horrible, horrible fanfics. Speaking of which, you can read my latest fanfic, Pearl Saves the Future, on fanfiction.net right now. It's the one where Pearl gets a time machine and she travels back into the past to prevent Phoenix from becoming a piano bum. Next bullet point, please.
Next bullet point. We have exhausted the puns. What's the bottom line on puns? The punny names specifically.
You know, I gotta be quite honest. Some of them work and some of them don't work. I think it just depends on the character. Okay. If the character's good independent of the pun, then if the pun works with the character, then it's good. Like with Salmonella. that's a great pun for his name because he's really a disgusting, kind of creepy guy. But if he was like this big, handsome guy...
I think my point still stands, though, that it's still very, very unrealistic compared to the rest of the game, I think.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that's something the crew eventually went away from later on. The translation crew kind of shied away from later on, which is good. Because you'll notice in the second game they have Maggie Bird, which is kind of a pun, but they never really take advantage of it. And Emma Sky, I think the only time they take advantage of that pun is in Apollo Justice. She's upset and Apollo goes, "Uh-oh, looks like it's stormy skies."
Well, that's okay if the characters make puns based on their names or the other people's names. That's great. They should do that all the time.
Yeah, that works, especially in the second game where Phoenix makes the joke about why he's a great lawyer.
Is it because he's always right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, that's a good one. Okay, third bullet point. This case rips off of my and Matt Gardner's article, The Gates of Life.
It does?
It does. The character Salmonella, unless I'm mistaken here, he talks in leet speak, does he not?
He talks in leet speak, and this is something I've noticed that a bunch of other people have also tried to do. It happened not once but twice in the Mario series. It happened in Super Paper Mario and in...
Which is a great game. I think we can both agree on that.
Yeah. Wait, what?
We shouldn't get into that right now.
I think the leet speak portion of that game worked well. How's that? There's a character who speaks leet speak in Super Paper Mario, and there's another character who speaks leet speak in Mario and Luigi Partners in Time for the DS.
Oh, I haven't played that one yet.
So, I gotta be quite honest, I'm suffering from an overload of leet speak characters. It might have been funny the first time we saw it in Gates of Life, which it was, but it's not funny anymore.
Yeah, it was great in Gates of Life, and that was the character of Evil Children did that, and Evil Children did it before anyone else did it. And therefore, the developers, or possibly the translators, or localizers, I don't know if those are two separate positions or not.
Sometimes they're two separate positions, and then sometimes they're not. I think with the Phoenix Wright series in particular, they have a big conference together to decide on major things like character names and stuff like that, and then they just let the translators do everything else and insert stuff like they have a joke about a Japanese movie. Oh, let's fill that with a Star Wars joke.
Or we'll change how Maya likes eating ramen. We'll change that to burgers.
Which makes a lot more sense.
It does. That was a good change. Actually, yeah. This is slightly off topic, but I think the localizers, translators, whoever, they did an awesome job with the series.
Yeah. Thumbs up to
I don't really have anywhere to go with that, but...
Thumbs up to them.
Yeah.
And that's something I don't like about the Phoenix Wright, do you call them manga or magna? The books.
I call them manga, but I pronounce Mario as Mario, so you can't really go by me.
In those ones, they don't localize it, really. They have the translators, but they keep the things like ramen and the various different types of noodles, which confuses everybody who doesn't know about the difference between the various types of Japanese noodles.
Yeah, actually, I had a lot of trouble following. I read the Phoenix Wright one. I think you read the Edgeworth one?
Yeah.
Or did you read them both?
I read the Edgeworth one. I'm gathering up the courage to read the Phoenix Wright one for another edition of the Humanity.
I believe, the problems you had with the Edgeworth one, they aren't going to go away in the Phoenix one.
Darn.
I mean, the whole thing is just, like, super, super Japanese, which, I mean, it's not an insult, but the tone is a lot different from the games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, much more so. Like, I mean, when I was going into it, I was really hoping it would be more like a follow-up story, or maybe a story that takes place during the game at some point or whatever. But no, it was just a bunch of, like, really, really goofy vignettes starring all the characters, and that most of them, if not all of them, could even possibly be canon. It's way sillier than I was expecting.
Yeah. that's getting off topic, though, I guess.
Yeah, anyway, so basically here, they stole from the Gates of Life. And that characters talking in leet speak is getting kind of old.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't steal the Gates of Life. I guess it's possible. It's possible that two people came up with this idea on their own.
It is possible, and that happens a lot. Like when I was talking about Vanjie Rich and Michael Ridgway, and I talked about their home as the Ridgway house. It's like it's an obvious joke, but whenever anybody comes up with it, they think they're being creative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Michael and Vanjie are probably very tired of hearing it.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Am I accusing you and Matt Gardner of being uncreative and just coming up with an obvious joke by having a leet speak character on the Gates of Life?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry, Paul. I didn't mean to insinuate that you're not creative.
It's okay.
Gates of Life being creative. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Had a little something stuck in my throat for a second there.
I am very hurt right now.
Anyway, point number next on the
The next point,
the next
Edgeworth.
and last point. Whoa, what
Yes.
happened? Did you skip a point? I thought there was like a photo. There's a point
there?
about the photo. Did you make a point about the photo?
I didn't make a point about the photo.
Oh. Well,
I think you added that bullet point to our list without my consent.
My mistake. One of the important pieces of evidence in the case is the photo. Because it says photo number 2 on the back, and that's the piece of evidence that gets presented. And I think that basically saves Phoenix's butt in the first day in court, because he turns the photograph around and says, hey, it says photo number 2 on here. What happened to photo number 1? And the judge is like, let's look for photo number 1. And that, he gives him another day to do investigation. And then the second day of investigation is bad, so he calls Mia. Maya randomly summons Mia.
Yeah, I think this is the first time she channels Mia, right?
Yeah,
Is
first,
that correct?
and I might add, only time in this game. No, it's the second time. She summoned her at the end of the case, too.
Oh, my bad.
Mia got Red White to confess. And then she set up Phoenix and Maya.
Which she was planning to do all along.
I'm not so sure about that, but we're just going to continue.
Yeah, I believe we've already had a lengthy discussion on the podcast about that.
Yeah, so I'm going to continue and say it was kind of interesting to see Phoenix and Mia investigate, because unless I'm mistaken, this is the only time the two of them team up to do an investigation.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And Phoenix, it's surprising, because usually Phoenix has nice things to say about Mia because she's his mentor, but he had a couple of sarcastic comments about her.
Really? What did he say?
When she was talking to Cody, the young boy, Cody Hackins.
The fanboy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of jealous. I got the sense that Phoenix kind of grudged the fact that Cody liked her, and he was just completely mean to Phoenix the whole time.
That doesn't sound like Phoenix. That doesn't sound like something Phoenix would do.
And Phoenix says something to the point of, like, why is everybody always so nice to Mia? Not me.
Maybe Phoenix is glad that she's out of the picture then.
Maybe. So yeah, that was just kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing them do another Phoenix and Mia investigating on another one of the cases when they make another Phoenix Wright game in the future, because obviously...
it sounds like, to me, they could do a pretty cool game like that.
It seems to me that they might be planning on doing it. Because that was one of the rumors with the Wii release of Phoenix Wright. Sorry, with the Phoenix Wright release on the Wii, is they named
their release, if you will,
the WiiWare.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm supposed to be the news guy, but I haven't completely figured it out yet, and I don't think it's been...
I think they're all coming out in February of 2010. They're porting the 3 canon Phoenix Wright games, or the 3 canon Ace Attorney games that will be out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first game, I think they're releasing the fifth case of that separately for $1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I believe that's all happening in February, I think.
Yeah.
Probably the same time that Miles Edgeworth game comes out.
Yeah, which I suppose is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
No, but the rumors are that maybe the first case, or the fifth case of the first game, will be released with that, and they'll be making a new case for, like, to put on the end of the second game. Another case with Phoenix going up against Franziska von Karma.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That would be very interesting, and
that would be so cool.
I don't think people would mind.
I hope you'd be able to buy it separately, because I was reading one of the posts I read said that the fifth case would be available as DLC, and I don't know if that was just the post, the blog writer being confused, but I mean that gave me the impression that it was just an add-on for the game, and you had to buy the first game first. And I think that would be a shame if they released a new case and it was like that, you know?
Yeah,
I don't want to have to buy the game again, the whole game again.
I think they'll let you do it either way, because what they did for the DS release of Phoenix Wright in Japan with the first game is that they had the remake, or you could play the fifth case separately. You could play it all the way from the beginning. Whereas for the American release, it's like you had to play cases 1, 2, 3, and 4 before you could unlock case number 5.
Right, okay, that makes sense.
Because Americans hadn't played cases 1, 2, 3, and 4 again. It would be kind of ridiculous to let them play case 5 right off the bat.
Yeah, it wouldn't make any sense. They would be very confused.
So hopefully they would follow that same pattern if they decided to make case number 5 for game number 2.
Which would be a great idea.
And I wouldn't mind seeing follow-up of like a case number 6 for game number 3. Ooh, that's so interesting, but so off topic, man. I wanted to talk more about Mia. We never got to see Mia do any investigation in game number 3.
Sounds like another spin-off waiting to happen.
Yeah. I mean, both of her cases were just all in-court cases.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Well, the developers certainly have a lot to work with, and yet they make games like Apollo Justice, so it's weird.
Yeah, well, at least we can take some sort of, comfort in the fact that Apollo Justice seemed to bring things to a standstill, and all we've seen since then is them trying to get back to Phoenix Wright.
Right. Yeah, I mean, maybe Capcom is siding with us on this. Maybe they are going to either just to say it's not canon, or do something really weird that storyline-wise that erases Apollo Justice in some other way. Either way, I'd be okay with it. But yeah, they're not releasing Apollo Justice on the WiiWare at all.
Yeah.
Only the first 3 games.
And they haven't released Apollo Justice 2 after 1 year, which would probably be...
Some people like the game a lot. Like, Zach Rich is in love with it. So
maybe
we're in the minority here.
I'm surprised he's in love with it, because there are... we should save this for another podcast, but there are definitely some parts to the game which are just bad. Like some of the...
He didn't play the first 2 games. I think he said he only played the 3rd Phoenix Wright game in Apollo Justice.
That could explain it.
Yeah, so I think that's why he didn't get so upset by the sacrilege of Apollo Justice, because he wasn't so emotionally invested in the characters as we were.
And to quote Zach Rich's article, he's right about how they totally got rid of the importance of court in Apollo Justice. There were some cases where it's like an hour and a half of investigation, and then it's just 2 witness testimonies in court, and then another hour and a half of investigation.
Weird.
It's really that was the second case. It was really kind of lame. It's like way too much investigation, not enough court. So when you were
they do some interesting stuff with the jury in that game, right? Don't they involve the jury in some of the cases?
No.
No? Okay.
No. That's just that's a Deus Ex Machina excuse that gets thrown in at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what was a good case? Case 3 of the first Phoenix Wright game.
Was it? Or was it not? Because, according to GameCola staff member Nathaniel Hoover, case number 3 wasn't all that good. I mean, he said, I don't have his exact quote here. Nathaniel said something along the lines of he liked case number 3, but the investigation part was kind of tedious.
I disagree.
I think
obviously it's been a while since I played the game, but I do not remember getting that impression from the game. from it at all.
I think what he was specifically referring to was the second day of investigation, where it's basically half hour of Phoenix and Maya going around. They get no new information, and it's basically just them finding out more and more stuff, which makes their defendant look guilty. And then Phoenix eventually just goes back to his office depressed, and that's when Mia shows up, and then they resume investigation. So I guess in retrospect, you could say that the whole 20 minutes of Phoenix and Maya going around finding out depressing information wasn't all that...
I don't think it drags the case down that much, though. It would probably help if we had Nathaniel here to defend his point of view.
Yes, it would, definitely.
But he didn't sign up to do this podcast segment, so too bad. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the what Edgeworth does near. I guess it is at the end of the case. He helps Phoenix. Phoenix pretty much convinces Edgeworth that he convinces them that they got the wrong guy, or that what's his face isn't guilty, right?
Yeah, he convinces Edgeworth that the defendant isn't guilty and that D. Vasquez is in fact the murderer. And I think Edgeworth, being the clever person that he is, might have already figured that out on his own. I'm not sure.
But the point is, Edgeworth, the prosecutor of this case, he sees that he is on the wrong side, and he goes to the other side, basically, and helps Phoenix win the case.
Because he's more concerned about justice than finding the defendant guilty. He wants to find the criminal guilty, not just the person who the police had originally indicated. Which is an interesting move for character development for Edgeworth, and really sets up for the fourth case. Because I noticed
it's huge for him, because his mentor, Von Karma, he was just all about the win, no matter what. And throughout this game, and this case specifically, Edgeworth learns that no, it shouldn't always just be about winning. It should be about justice.
Yeah,
and that's awesome. And it makes Edgeworth a fuller character, a fuller person. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, so I think that sort of would be my response to what Nathaniel says about case number 3 maybe being a little bit too long, is it's necessary for Edgeworth to have the character development, because where he is at the end of case number 2 is he's just the evil jerk prosecutor who will stop at nothing to win. And case number 4, at the beginning of case number 4, he's Phoenix's semi-friend. They're not BFFs or anything, but you can understand why Phoenix somewhat cares about him and doesn't want to see Edgeworth end up in jail.
Yeah, and then I believe by the end of the game, Edgeworth, he decided to take a leave of absence. It gets very intense, and we can talk about this later when we talk about the fourth case in the next next time we record stuff for this. Next time we talk about Phoenix, right? But where was I going with that?
At the end of the fourth case, Edgeworth is pretty much just, Edgeworth and Phoenix are no longer enemies, but begrudging friends.
And Edgeworth is really just questioning his career path, I think, and whether he's doing the right thing. That pretty much sets up Edgeworth's character for the rest of the series, it turns him from a villain to kind of not quite a hero, but to one of the good guys.
Yeah.
And that's what leads to there being a whole game devoted to Miles Edgeworth. And if he didn't have this character development, there'd be no reason for people playing the game to like him. But now there is. And now everyone loves Edgeworth, and he's the star of his own game.
Yeah. People are arguing about whether Phoenix or Edgeworth should be the main character of the series before Apollo Justice came into the picture. And
surprisingly, nobody said Apollo Justice should be the main character of the series. Actually, I don't think I have anything against Apollo himself.
Yeah, Apollo's a good guy.
Yeah. He got caught up in bad circumstances.
He was a good guy, and he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think Apollo, again, actually, have I mentioned this in the podcast before, the fact that I haven't actually played Apollo Justice, despite the fact that I think it's the worst game ever made? I'm not sure if I mentioned that before.
Oh, you should mention that.
Never played Apollo Justice, but I can firmly say that it's the worst game ever made. I am secure in that. But anyway, I think it probably, I would not have that reaction to the game if they just, if it had just not taken place in Phoenix Wright land at all.
Yeah.
It fit in like a different city with a different set of characters, different everything. I think it probably would have been a much better game.
I would definitely agree. But
poor Apollo Justice, his name has been tarnished because of the story of this game, and not necessarily because of Apollo Justice himself.
Yeah, well, it's hard to explain because you haven't played the game, obviously, but Apollo is kind of obsessed with finding out what happened to Phoenix Wright. He's kind of like obsessed with his new mentor, Phoenix Wright. And part of the mystery is what happened to Phoenix? Why is he a piano bum? It's not really that much of a good storyline, I'm afraid, though. I don't think it really pays off.
I can even accept, the whole game being about Phoenix getting disbarred and fixing him, but I'm just so bothered by the fact that none of his friends are there anymore. Where did they all go? Why isn't Maya there, and why isn't Edgeworth there? Why aren't they helping him too? Why is this young upstart lawyer helping him instead? It doesn't make any sense. I don't want to accept that the storyline of Phoenix Wright and Phoenix Wright's life is that he gets, that happens to him, and then all of his friends leave him and don't hang out with him and don't spend any time with him anymore, and that's it. And then he plays piano and he's drunk all the time. I don't want to accept that that's what happens to him.
Yeah. Poor Phoenix. Poor Apollo.
Where is Maya? Somebody tell me where the hell Maya is in that game. Where the heck Maya is in that game.
She is not mentioned anywhere, nor are any of Phoenix's friends.
That's the core of what's wrong with it.
Do you know who does make an appearance, though?
Gumshoe appears in a flashback, if I'm not mistaken.
He does. I was talking about Dr. Hottie, the pervert from the hospital.
They brought him back.
They brought back the pervert Dr. Hottie. That's the main character from the Phoenix Wright series.
They don't want to see Phoenix or Edgeworth. I mean, they don't want to see Maya or Edgeworth. They want that guy.
Yeah. And he makes some disturbing comments about Phoenix's daughter.
It depresses me so much that this is the canon version of what happens to Phoenix. Someone makes it look like he falsified evidence, and all of his friends leave him. I guess to Capcom's credit, it's great that they're able to make me feel that way, that they're able to elicit such a strong emotion in me. But on the other hand, it's so strong that I refuse to play the game because the storyline upsets me too much. We need to change topics. I'm too upset now.
Let's wrap up our discussion on Case 1-3 because I have just depressed Paul with talking about Apollo Justice far too much. But anyway, Case 1-3. Any final thoughts on that case?
I think it's a good case.
I like it, and I think it's cool how they make the Pink Princess based off Maya.
That's true.
That has to be the cool thing, not defending the Steel Samurai, but having her own anime based off her.
That is true. Introducing, what is the Steel Samurai's name? The guy's name, like, Will Powers.
Yeah.
I mean, he shows up in the second game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I liked him. I liked that they introduced that character here and then brought him back later. I thought that was great. Because he's fun.
Yeah,
He is the ugliest man alive.
I like the idea.
He just looks like, what's his face? He looks like the guy who plays Wolverine.
He does, I know.
Looks just like him.
No, I was thinking...
The right art department for that. I don't think they made him ugly enough.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, if they ever decided to make like a Phoenix Wright TV show anime, which I would totally watch.
I don't know, if it's made by the people who made the manga.
That could be a problem, but I think one of the ways that they could do it and make it work is by having default characters like Will Powers or Maggie Bird as the defendant in like 5 episodes. So the viewers would know, oh, Maggie's the defendant. That means she's obviously innocent. They won't have to worry about setting up the case. They won't have to set up protecting the defendant because it's like, this is the character we know, this character is always innocent.
I can buy that.
Yeah, so that could be one of their plot devices they can use. if they ever make the TV series, which has not been a question. The question has never been raised.
Very, very big side note. I do like how Phoenix, and I think there's one instance, but he never defends people who are actually guilty. I think that was a good idea on the developers' part there. Because I don't think I would be able to get in the game nearly as much if it turned out the guy was guilty. I don't think that would be as much fun.
Yeah.
Except in that one case where they pulled it off really well. So.
Because that was the big plot twist halfway through the case.
Spoiler alert.
Well, we're not saying which case it is, so it's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
that's true.
Yeah.
So that was awesome though. That was like the best plot twist ever.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was definitely.
What he like moves his hair aside and all of a sudden he's evil.
Yeah, he's got new animation for the evil version of the character, and he takes out a bottle of wine.
And then when he's on the witness stand, his hair is moved back and he's good again.
Yeah. He goes back into good mode.
They really play with what few animations they had. They play with them really well.
Which is kind of a shame they don't do that more in the DS version, because the animation, they were limited by how many sprites they could get on the Game Boy Advance screen.
Right.
So you'll notice Marvin Grossberg, who's like Mia's old lawyer dude. The reason he has no animation, his animation is his mustache moves, is because there was literally no more room on the cartridge for anything else. Fun, little-known fact.
So, case 3. Thumbs up. I say thumbs up.
I say thumbs up, too.
Captain Paul's super thumb says thumbs up.
I liked it better than case number 3 in game number 2. That's the one I kind of have more issues. That's the one I would view...
Which one was that?
The circus one. That's the one I would view as more of a filler case.
I didn't have a problem with any of the cases in any of the games. I think they're all great.
I know, but in retrospect...
I think it's scandalous that Phoenix Wright did not win Game of the Year in GameCola's year-end awards.
Ever?
Ever. It won, when the third one came out, it won Best Portable. It never won Game of the Year, though.
Lame. What did win Game of the Year? Something horrible.
Wait, what year did it come out? What year did the third one come out?
I can look it up.
Here, if we pause for a second, I can look it up.
I have my copy right here. 2006.
2006? Really? That long ago?
2006?
I think you're wrong. You're lying. Oh man, I have it here winning a Best Portable of 2007.
Okay, well the copyright on the actual, on Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations says copyright 2006, and it says the exact same thing for Apollo Justice Ace Attorney.
That did not come out.
And Justice for All, so obviously what happened is I bought them all in the same year.
Anyway, 2007, we gave Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. It won Best Portable, but Game of the Year went to BioShock. Which, not a bad choice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna contest that.
I think I voted for Phoenix Wright, though. I mean, I definitely liked it more than BioShock, but I'm not gonna say BioShock didn't deserve Game of the Year.
I think Professor Layton should have won something whenever it came out. We have no idea what's gonna win the Game of the Year this year. Okay, so...
Professor Layton never won anything.
Nothing, which is a surprise. I feel sad now. Poor Professor Layton. Did you play it? No? I think it's just me and Vanjie who played Professor Layton and like it, so...
Control F isn't working here. I'm searching on a file I have all the award winners. Anything else you want me to look for while I'm here?
Where has my life gone?
That's actually not on here.
No.
Wow, that's the Best Portable is the only award any Phoenix Wright game's ever won in GameCola Awards. That's weird. Our Australian friend Matt Wright, if you're listening right now, come back to us. You haven't responded to any of my emails ever. Also, Travis Combs, also Sprite Monkey. Any of you people, feel free to email me, because I miss you.
And Neal.
And Neal. I just talked to him yesterday.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Neal is an MIA. Those other three people, though, they don't respond to my emails anymore.
Aww.
It makes me kind of sad.
What about
Chris? Kind of like Apollo Justice.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up, we've already wrapped up Case 3. Well, Case 3 is awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
To wrap up a second time. It's awesome. And we're finished talking about it.
Okay, so that has been GameCola podcast number 18.
Number 18. I'm Paul Franzen.
And I'm Michael Gray.
Thanks for listening.
Yep, see you next time, everybody.
Do you think the podcast could use a theme song?
I have no idea.
Because it just occurred to me, I was listening to a different one earlier today, and it had one, and it occurred to me that we have two people on the staff who write music.
Really? Who? I mean, I know Mateo writes music, but I didn't know anybody else did.
Mateo and Rico.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Rico even had a column about it a little while ago. I don't know if it's something our podcast could use or not. It's something I was thinking about.
Okay, we'll put that as the bonus material at the end of the podcast. How's that?
And people can comment about whether they want it or not.
Mm-hmm.